These are arguably the two best flagship killer smartphones of 2020 thus far, the Redmi K30 Ultra and the Realme X7 Pro. But how do they stack up in a speed test? Well, they both have very similar specifications on paper. They both come paired with the new and improved MediaTek Dimensity 1000 Plus chipset run on 7nm technology. They both have LPDDR4X RAM and they both have UFS 2.1 storage. We have updated them to their latest firmware updates on both devices, and we're going to be using their native 120Hz refresh rate panels on both devices. We're going to be disabling all animations over here in order to test out raw performance. We do see a little bit of an animation though when exiting an app still on the Xiaomi, so just to let you guys know before we get going with the test. Round 1 will be all about boot, fingerprint and face unlock. Round 2 will be all about initial opening app speed, and round 3 will be all about RAM management. We're using my finger over here, so to keep things accurate we're going to pop GoPro footage at the bottom left hand corner. Guys, this is TechNick, and without further ado, let's go! We're going to start with a boot to kickstart round 1 off of here to see which one can boot up faster than the other. The Realme X7 Pro gets its first point there with 22.5 seconds of the boot as opposed to the 26 seconds on the K30 Ultra. Now going into the phones itself, refreshing the app icons, the Realme gets its second point over there. And now we're testing out the optical readers underneath the displays of both devices. The Realme was faster the first time round and faster the second time round over there. We are taking into account how fast the fingerprint sensor is and not necessarily the animation speed, because there is quite a big one on the Xiaomi. So the Realme now gets its third point in round 1 as opposed to 0 for the K30 Ultra. Testing out the facial recognition systems over here, we do have a pop-up selfie cam on the K30 Ultra, so I wait for it to pop up and then put my face in the way, and the Realme was faster the first 2 times round. Let's test out the third and final time over here, which the Realme was slightly quicker there, getting its fourth and final point in round 1 as opposed to 0 for the K30 Ultra in round 1. Making sure that we are hooked up to the same Wi-Fi network, max brightness on both devices and all apps are cleared in the background, and the first point gets awarded to the X7 Pro, opening up the camera app quicker. Second point when switching to the selfie cam quicker, though the Redmi K30 Ultra takes the snap slightly faster, getting it its first point over there. The K30 Ultra gets its second point when opening up the Photos app, but the Realme opens up the actual photo quicker, getting it its third point there. Going into the Calculator app, the Realme picks up its fourth point, now double the point of that of the K30 Ultra, and the next system app here is indeed the phone app. And jumping right into that, we can see that the Realme X7 Pro is slightly quicker when opening up system apps as opposed to the K30 Ultra. Going into the settings, once again, no surprise here, the Realme picks up its 6th point, now triple the points ahead of the K30 Ultra, but now just double because the K30 Ultra opens up the first non-system app, which is speed check and internet speed test, slightly faster than that of the X7 Pro, now making it 3 points for the K30 Ultra as opposed to 6 on the X7 Pro over here. We're not really testing out download upload speed over here, but actually how long it takes to do the test. 21.5 seconds for the K30 Ultra as opposed to the exact same 21.5 seconds for the X7 Pro, so no point was allocated over here. Still a double point lead there for the X7 Pro. Let's see what happens when we do more non-system apps. It was too close to call when going into Spotify. I actually opened them up at slightly different times, but they finished loading the page at the exact same time, getting everything done and dusted at the same time there. Going into Photoshop Express here, a picture editing app, the K30 Ultra opens up the app quicker, and it was too close to call when going into the actual photo. We're going to go ahead and export this photo over here using the UFS 2.1 storage. The K30 Ultra grabs its 5th point over there, slightly faster than the X7 Pro that time around. I usually use Adobe Rush over here, but for some reason the Dimensity 1000 Plus chip doesn't really agree with Rush. I guess this has to be changed in future software updates. Hopefully we get that soon, because I do indeed love Rush. So we're going to have to use old school Adobe Premiere Clip over here to export the same clip that we usually export in my videos. Going into the app, the K30 Ultra was quicker. Going into the project, the X7 Pro is quicker. So 7 points, just a 1 point lead now over the K30 Ultra. And exporting the clip, I have kept it at real time. I haven't sped it up since Adobe Clip is slightly faster processing than Rush. 6 seconds using the UFS 2.1 storage on the K30 Ultra as opposed to 9 using the same UFS 2.1 storage on the X7 Pro, getting the Redmi K30 Ultra its 7th point, now matching the X7 Pro. Going into Astral VPN, since we need a VPN here in China, the X7 Pro takes the lead once again with 8 points, but the Redmi K30 Ultra turns it on quicker, now matching 8 for 8. Going into Facebook, our first social media app, one of the reasons why we actually need a VPN turned on, 9 points now for the X7 Pro, opening it up and loading the page quicker than that of the K30 Ultra. Same thing can be said when going into Instagram over here, where the X7 Pro grabs its 10th point, now in double digits, just a 2 point lead over the K30 Ultra, now a 3 point lead after opening up Twitter slightly faster. So 11 points so far for the X7 Pro as opposed to 8 for the K30 Ultra, but now 9 for the K30 Ultra since it opens up YouTube slightly faster. Now we're going to head over to my channel over here. Make sure that you guys check out my channel after this video. I have loads of videos like this and many more videos. So the Redmi now picks up its 10th points, its first double digit point now in round 2. And going into the actual video though, the the X7 Pro played the video quicker and loaded the whole page quicker. Now, once again, a 2-point lead, 12 points on the Realme as opposed to 10 points on the Redmi. Going into Netflix, the Realme picks up its 13th and 14th point respectively, opening the app quicker and going into my profile faster as well. Going into Google Chrome, it was too close to call over there, so no point was allocated. Now, our first game for Subway Surfers. Jumping into it, we have a nice new little interface for Subway Surfers, which looks neat, but the Realme X7 Pro is slightly faster than that of the K30 Ultra, now with a 5-point lead, the biggest lead it has had so far in round 2. Going into Flip Diving, our second game over here, the tables have turned and the K30 Ultra wins this slot when opening up a game faster than the Realme X7 Pro, now with 11 points, just a 4-point lead for the Realme. And going into Temple Run 2, I sped it up, slowed it back down, and the K30 Ultra picks up its 12 points, now just 3 points behind that of the X7 Pro. Last game here, last app of the 20 is indeed PUBG Mobile, and we do have the new 1 update, the new era update, so it will be interesting to see how long it takes to load. Definitely longer than previous loading times on other devices. 19.5 seconds, the K30 Ultra snags its 13th and final point, slightly quicker than that of the X7 Pro when opening up PUBG. Now we're testing out RAM management, and they both kill the camera app. The Realme kills the photo app, but the K30 Ultra keeps it open. We are both running LPDDR4X RAM on both devices. Yes, we do have 8 gigs of RAM on the X7 Pro and 6 gigs on the K30 Ultra, but that really wouldn't make a difference since a 4 gig iPhone can keep this many apps open in the background. You shouldn't have many RAM management issues with Android devices in 2020, even if they had 2 gigs of RAM, but these phones seem to have terrible RAM management when it comes to testing out RAM. So 1 point for the Redmi as opposed to 4 on the Realme. The Realme is doing better, but I can't really say it is doing a great job. It is still killing a lot of apps, such as you can see on YouTube over here. And guys, just to let you know, I have gone into settings and made sure to turn off all battery optimizations on both devices so that they can indeed use these apps in the background when running the phone and opening up other apps. So 5 points on the Realme now as opposed to 1 on the K30 Ultra. The Realme does have slightly better RAM management, but it still killed most of the apps, so it is definitely not the best. Wrapping out round 3 there with a win to Realme. Coming to the total score here, 14 points for the Redmi K30 Ultra as opposed to 24, 10 points more on the Realme X7 Pro. If we look at just raw speed, take round 2 into consideration over here, 15 points for the Realme as opposed to 13 on the K30 Ultra. So it's much of a muchness between the two. They're both pretty quick devices. Definitely my favorite flagship killers of 2020. This is TechNick, and I'll see you in the next one.